All right, so in this video, we're going to do another interest rate swap with no intermediary. So a savings bank has $200 million of adjustable rate mortgages at the overnight financing rate plus 2%. They are financed with $200 million of CDs at a fixed rate of 3.5%. And a commercial bank has $200 million of small business loans at a fixed rate of 6%. They are financed with money market deposit accounts at a rate of overnight financing rate plus 4%. So let's again do the risk exposure first. And again, so we want to do the risk exposures first. Then we want to create the swap that would eliminate interest rate risk for both parties. And looks like up here, it's this should be overnight financing rate, so SOFR. So what would be the savings bank risk exposure? So let's do SB for the savings bank. We want to know their risk exposure. So we know that they are receiving the overnight financing rate, so SOFR plus 2% on the adjustable rate mortgages. They're paying 3.5% on the CDs. So this would be financing rate minus 1.5%. So their risk exposure would be if the overnight financing rate falls below 1.5%. So this would be if the overnight financing rate falls below 1.5%. Because again, this needs to stay above zero in order for them to make money from this transaction. Now for the commercial bank. What is their risk exposure? Let's do CB for commercial bank. We want to know their risk exposure. So for the commercial bank, they have business loans at 6%. And they are financed with money market deposit accounts at the overnight financing rate plus 4%. So they're paying the overnight financing rate and they're paying 4%. So net would be 2% minus overnight financing. So their risk exposure would be if the variable rate goes above 2%. If the overnight financing rate goes above 2%, then the commercial bank would lose money. So now let's do part C. We want to calculate the cash flow goals for both companies if they were to enter a interest rate swap together and eliminate their interest rate risk and lock in a cash flow. So for this, whatever the net is, you're gonna split it down the middle. So let's add everything up. So for the savings bank, their net is the overnight financing rate minus 1.5%. And for the commercial bank, so plus what they have, which is 2% minus, again, overnight financing rate. Overnight financing rate cancels out as it should. And this leaves us 1/2 of 0.5%, which is going to be 0.25%. So now the cash flow goal, what they're going to lock in is going to be 0.25%. That would be 0.25% on $200 million. So now let's draw the diagram. Let's do the savings bank on the left. SB for the savings bank. We know that they are receiving the overnight financing rate plus 2%. This is from the adjustable rate mortgages. And they are paying 3.5% on the CDs. Over here on the right, let's do the commercial bank. CB for commercial bank. The commercial bank, they are receiving the they are receiving 6% from the small business loans, and they are paying the overnight financing rate plus 4% on their money market deposit accounts. So this is deposits. The commercial bank is going to owe those deposits. It's a liability. In order for this interest rate swap to work out, the savings bank is going to have to pay the overnight financing rate to the commercial bank. The commercial bank is going to have to pay some amount to the savings bank in order for it to work out. So now we want to find what that amount would be. Let's do the savings bank first. So we know for the savings bank, they are receiving the overnight financing rate. They are receiving 2%. They are paying 3.5%. They are paying the financing rate. They are going to receive some number from the savings bank in order for this to work out and equal 0.25%. So what would that be? Our financing rate cancels out. We're left with 2 minus 3.5, which would be 1.5%. So negative 1.5% plus some number is going to be 0.25%. So this would be should be 1.75%. So that's going to go right here. So the commercial bank is paying the savings bank 1.75%. So let's check it against the commercial bank. We know for the commercial bank, they are receiving 6% from the small business loans, and they are paying the overnight financing rate plus 4% to the deposits. We have them receiving the overnight financing rate from the savings bank, and we have them paying 1.75% to the savings bank. So this needs to equal the cash flow goal. So this overnight financing rate cancels out. 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 minus 1.75 is 0.25%. This is the cash flow goal here. So, and this is the cash flow goal here. So it all worked out. So both of these banks have locked in 0.25%. They've locked in 0.25%, and they've eliminated their interest rate risk. So this is a interest rate swap with no intermediary. If there was an intermediary, it would go here, and the intermediary party would take a proportion of the cash flow goal, and that's what would make it worth it for them. So this is the end of our second swap example, and later we'll do more for the later chapters.